So now I present Robert Milli in Hamlet.
Thank you. Wow, SRO. I just want to thank you all for coming. This is kind of a special day for me. I'd like to dedicate this performance today to my late wife, Mary Jane, and to my family, all of whom are here today. And only one of them was born the last time I played Hamlet. 51 years ago. I love this play, and I want to share it with you. It was a little difficult because, as most of you know, the play runs a little over 4 hours. I had to do something because most people would end up with blood clots if they had to. So with really rather voracious, but very, very judicial cutting, I started hacking away at the play, and I wrote some narrative bridges to put it together. All the major scenes are still in it. All the soliloquies, all of the major characters. And I, getting to the characters, I play all the characters, including the ladies, so you're going to have to use your suspension of disbelief very strongly. So I'd like you all to come with me as this poor player struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and fly with me o'er times to Denmark, the battlements, and Elsinore. Bernardo is relieving his fellow soldier Francisco on watch. He speaks. Who's there? Nay, answer me, stand and unfold yourself. Bernardo? Long live the king. You come most carefully upon your hour. It is now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco. I'll go this relief much thanks. It is bitter cold, and I am sick at heart. Have you had quiet, God? Not a mouse stirring. Oh, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste. Oh, I think I hear them. Stand ho! Who's there? Friends to this ground, and liegemen to the Dane. What, is Horatio there? A piece of him. Welcome, good Horatio. Welcome, Marcellus. What? Has this thing appeared again tonight? Well, Horatio says it was a fantasy. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night. And that if again this apparition comes, we may approve our eyes and speak to it. Tush, tush, 'twill not appear. Now sit we down, and let us once again assail your ears what we have tonight seen. Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this. Last night of all, when yon same star had made its course to illumine that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating one, peace, break thee off, look, where it comes again, in the same figure like the king that's dead. Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio. Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio. Most like. It harrows me with fear and wonder. Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio. What art thou, that usurps this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes lodge? By heaven, I charge thee, speak! It is offended, see, it stalks away. Speak, I charge thee, speak! It is gone, and will not answer. Ah, now, Horatio, you tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? Before my God, I might not disbelieve without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes. Is it not like the king, as thou art to thyself? It is strange. But soft, no. Look, where it comes again. I'll cross it though it blast me. Stay, illusion. If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. Suddenly the cock crows. Stop it, Marcellus. Shall I strike at it with my partisan? Do, if it will not stand. 'Tis here, 'tis here. 'Tis gone. We do it wrong to offer it a show of violence. I was about to speak when the cock crew, and then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. Some say that ever against that season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated. The bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say no fairy takes, no witch has power to charm. So Hamlet and so gracious is the time. So have I heard, and do it not believe it. Break we a watch up. And by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. Upon my life, his spirit dumb to us will speak to him. Scene 2, Elsinore, a room of state in the castle. Enter the king, the queen, Hamlet, Polonius, Laertes, and various lords in attendance. The king is addressing the court. Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitteth to bear our hearts in grief, and a whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far has discretion fought with nature, that we with the wisest sorrow think of him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore our sometime sister, now our queen, have we as 'twere with the defeated joy, with mirth in funeral, and with dirge in marriage, taken to wife. For all, our thanks. But now my cousin Hamlet, and my son, little more than kin, less than kind. How is it that the clouds still hang on you? Not so, my lord. I am too much in the sun. Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever seek for with thy veiled lids, seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou know'st 'tis common, all that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity. Aye, madam, it is common. If it be, why seems it so particular with thee? Seems, madam? Nay, it is, I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected behavior of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for there are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passeth show, these but the trappings and the suits of woe. 'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to offer these mourning duties to your father. But you must know that your father lost a father, his father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation to some term to do obsequious son. We pray you throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are most immediate to our thrones. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire. And we beseech you, bend you to remain here, in the cheer and comfort of our eye. Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. Stay with us. Go not to Wittenberg. I shall in all my best obey you. Why, 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Madam, come. This gentle and unfostered court of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart. Come, away. Exeunt, woe but Hamlet. That this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve us over to a Jew. That the everlasting had not fixed his canon against self-slaughter. God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Vile, thou vile. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed things rank and gross in nature possesseth merely. That it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth must I remember, why she would hang on him as if increase of appetite I'd grown by what it fed on. And yet, within a month, let me not think on't. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body like Niobe, all tears. Why, she, even she, oh God! A beast that once discoursed reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle. My father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules, within a month! Ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had let the flushing in her galled eyes. She married. Oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart. I must hold my tongue. Horatio and Marcellus and Bernardo enter, and Horatio informs Hamlet what they have witnessed. After hearing this, Hamlet is convinced that what they have seen is his father's spirit. He agrees to watch with them this night. Act 1, Scene 3. Both Laertes, her brother, and Polonius, her father, give Ophelia advice concerning her relationship with Hamlet. She agrees to be very careful. Scene 4. The platform before the castle. Enter Hamlet, Horatio, and Marcellus. It is the dead of night. The air bites shrewdly. It is very cold. It is a nipping and an eager air. What hour now? I think it lacks of 12. No, it is struck. Indeed. I heard it not. It then draws near the season wherein the spirit held its wont to walk. Look, my lord! It comes. Ah! Angels and ministers of grace defend us. Be thou spirit of health, O goblin damned. Bring with the airs from heaven a blast from hell. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee Hamlet, King, Father, Royal Dane. Now answer me. I beckon you to go away with it, but do not go with it. No, by no means. If it will not speak, then I will follow it. Do not go, my lord. Why? What should be the fear? I do not set my life at a pin's fee. And as for my soul, what can I do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again. I'll follow it. Do not go, my lord. Hold up your hands. Be ruled, you shall not go. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say away! Go on. I'll follow you. The ghost and Hamlet removed to a more remote part of the castle. Whither wilt thou lead me? Speak. I'll go no further. Mark me. I will. My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself. Alas, poor ghost, pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold. Speak, I am bound to hear. I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain time to walk the night, and for the day confined to fast and fire, till the foul crimes done in my day of nature are burnt and purged away. List, oh, list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love, oh God, revenge his foul and most unnatural murder. Murder most foul as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange and unnatural. Haste me to know it, that I, with wings as swift as meditation of the thoughts of love, may sweep to my revenge. I find thee apt. And thou, Hamlet, here, given out, sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me, so that by the forged process of my death, the whole ear of Denmark is rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life, now wears his crown. Oh, my prophetic soul, mine uncle, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, won to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there! A soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping in my orchard, my custom always of the afternoon. Upon my secure hour, thy uncle stole with juice of cursed Lebanon in a vial, and in the porches of my ear did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with the blood of man, that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body. Thus was I, by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen, at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin, unhoused, disappointed, unannealed, sent to my reckoning with all my imperfections on my head. If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark become a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to him. That's all. The glowworm shows the matin to be near, and begins to pale his uneffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, Hamlet. Remember me. Oh, all ye hosts of heaven, worth, what else shall I couple hell? Hold my heart, and you my sinews grown at instant old, but bend me stiffly up. Remember thee, I the poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee, yea, from the table of my memory I wipe away all trivial upon record, and thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain. Yes, by heaven, oh, most pernicious woman, oh, villain, villain, smiling, damned villain that would make smile and be a villain. At least, I am sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. That's my word. It is that you remember me. I have sworn. Horatio and Marcellus finally tracked down Hamlet, but he will not reveal to them what has transpired with the ghost. He makes them swear not to reveal anything they have seen this night. He also tells them that in the future, he may seem fit to put an antic disposition on, and no matter how strange his behavior, they are not to be concerned. With a prompt from the ghost, they both swear not to reveal what they have seen. As Hamlet says, and still your fingers to your lips, I pray. The time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite that ever I was born to set it right. End Act 1. Act 2. The royal chamberlain Polonius is told by his daughter Ophelia that she is quite worried about Hamlet's strange behavior. He seems to be on the edge of madness. When the king learns of this, he employs two of Hamlet's schoolmates, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, to test his seeming madness. Hamlet initially treats them warmly, but then he realizes what they're really there for and dismisses them. Polonius then appears to announce that a group of traveling players have arrived to entertain the court. As they come in, Hamlet greets them with great enthusiasm. He then asks them for a taste of their quality, to which they respond. Hamlet is pleased by what he sees and he hears, and as the players are escorted in to prepare for the next evening's entertainment, Hamlet stops the leading actor. And so, hear me, old friend. Can you play the murder of Gonzalo? Aye, my lord. But have it tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some dozen or 16 lines, which I could set down in it and insert in it, could you not? Aye, my lord. Very well. Follow that, lord. My good friends, I leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore. Exeunt, all but happy. Oh, broken peasant slave. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage wan, tears in his eyes, distractions in his effect, a broken voice in his all functions shooting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing, for Hecuba. What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy metal rascal, peak like John o' Dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing, no, not for a king upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain? Breaks my praetor cross, plucks off my beard, and blows it in my face. Gives me the lie in the throat as deep as to the lung. Who does me this, eh? Ah, swoons! I should take it, for I cannot be, but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter. For ere this, I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's offal. Bloody, gaudy villain, remorseless, lecherous, treacherous, kindless villain! Oh, vengeance! Oh, this is most brave. That I, the son of a dear father Bernard, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, much like a whore, unpack my heart with words, and fall cursing like a very brat, a scullion, fire, about my brain. I have heard that guilty creatures, sitting at a play, and by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. The murder, though it hath no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks, I tent him to the quick. If he but blench, I know my cause. The spirit that I have seen may be the devil, and the devil hath the power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps through my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I have grounds more relative than this. The plays that are paid, wherein I catch the conscience of the king. Act 3, Scene 2. A room in the castle. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern report to Claudius that Hamlet did indeed seem distraught, but behaved toward them decently. They also noted that Hamlet seemed very pleased with the arrival of the players, and beseeched their majesties to see and hear the matter of the new play. The king and queen decide to attend. In the meantime, Claudius has contrived with Ophelia's father Polonius to use her as bait to test Hamlet's seeming madness. Ophelia reluctantly agrees. The king and Polonius then hide behind a curtain within earshot. Ophelia is ostensibly praying as Hamlet enters reading. He does not notice it. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of trouble, and by opposing, end them. To die. To sleep. And by a sleep to say we end the heart. And the thousand natural shocks that flashes at you. 'Tis a consolation devoutly to be wished. To die. To sleep. To sleep. The chance to dream. There's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal toil, must give us pause. And there's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare vodka? Who would fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but at the dread of something after death, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveller returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others we know not of. Thus, conscience doth make cowards of us all, and thus the native view of resolution is sicklied all with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great moment with this regard, their currents turn awry and lose the name of action. Soft you know. The fair Ophelia, nymph, in thy orisons be all my sins remembered. But my lord, how does your honor for this many a day? Well, my lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to deliver. I pray you, now receive them. No, not I never gave you all. My honored lord, you know right what you did, and with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the things more rich. The perfume lost, take these again. For to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor, when givers prove unkind. There, my lord. Are you honest, my lord? Are you fair? What means your lordship? That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty. Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty? Aye, truly. For the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bawd than the power of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometimes a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once. Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so. You should not have believed me. I loved you not. I was the more deceived. Would get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent honest. Yet I could accuse me of such things if the better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious. With more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape or time to act them. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven, we errant knaves all, believe none of us, to a nunnery go? Where's your father? Whom, my lord? Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Oh, help him, you sweet heavens, if thou dost marry. I'll give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. To a nunnery go, and quickly too, farewell. For the fool needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery go, and quickly too, farewell. Oh, you heavenly powers, restore him. I have heard of your paintings too, well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig, you amble, and you this, and you nickname God's creatures, and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'm no moron, it hath made me mad. I say we will have no more marriages. Those that are married, all but one, shall live. The rest shall keep as they are. To Henry, go. Hamlet exits. Oh, what a noble mind is here o'erthrown. The courtier's skull, soldier's eye, tongue, sword. The expectancy and rose of the fair state. The glass of passion and the mold of form. The observed of all observers. Quite down. And I of ladies most dejected wretched that sucked the honey of his music flowers. Now see that noble and most sovereign reason like sweet bells jangled out of tune and heart. That unmatched form and feature of blown youth, blasted with ecstasy. Oh, woe is me, to see what I have seen, to see what I see. Re-enter the king and Polonius. Love, his affections do not that way tend, nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul, o'er which his melancholy sits unroomed, and I do doubt the hatch in the discourse will be of some danger, which, for to prevent, I have with quick determination must set it down. We shall with speed to England, for the demand of our neglected tribute. But think you what, it shall do well. To England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think. It shall be so. The madness in great ones is not unwatched. Scene 2, a hall in the castle. Enter Hamlet in certain place. Now speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. But if you mouth it, as many of your players do, my head is leaf the town crier spoke my lines. And no, do not soar the air too much with your hand thus, but use all gently. For in the very torrent, tempest, and, as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, you must acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. Ah, it offends me to the soul to hear robustious, periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of the groundlings, who for the most part are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for o'erdoing termagant, et out errant, pray you avoid it. Be not too tame neither, but let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word to the action. With this special observance, that you o'erstep not the modesty of nature. For anything so o'erdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end both then and now was and is, to hold as 'twere the mirror up to nature, to show virtue her own feature, scorn her own image, in the very age and body of the time, its form and pressure. Oh, there be players that I have seen play and heard others praise, and that highly, not to speak it profanely, but that having neither the accent of Christians nor the gait of Christian pagan nor man, have so strutted and bellowed, I had thought one of nature's journeymen had made men and not made them well. They imitated humanity so long. Go, make you ready. Horatio. Aye, my lord. There is a place tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance I have told thee of my father's death. I prithee, when thou seest this act afoot, observe my note. If his occulted guilt do not itself uncannil in one speech, it is a damned ghost that we have seen. Give him heedful note. Well, my lord, they're coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place. As the play is performed before the court, it becomes increasingly obvious that the king is becoming more and more uncomfortable. When the player king is pouring the poison into the king as he sleeps, Claudius suddenly rises and bellows, "Give me some light! Away!" The great hall begins to empty as Hamlet, in a great state of excitement, finds Horatio and says, "Oh, good Horatio, I'll take the ghost's word for £1,000. Didst perceive? Very well, my lord. Upon the talk of the poisoning, I did very well note it. Leave me, friends." Exeunt all but Hamlet. 'Tis now the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. No, could I drink hot blood and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look on. So, now to my mother. O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not ever the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel to her, not unnatural. I will speak daggers to her, but use not. A room in the castle. Claudius employs Rosencrantz and Guildenstern to accompany Hamlet to England. Polonius tells the king that he will hide behind a curtain in Gertrude's bedroom because Hamlet is coming here at his mother's request, and will gather what information he can about the meeting. Act 3, Scene 4, the Queen's bedroom. Polonius and the Queen are in conversation. Now he would come straight. Look you, lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with. I'll silence me even here. Now pray you, be round with him. I warrant you, fear me not. Mother, withdraw. I hear him coming. Polonius goes behind the arras as Hamlet enters. Now, mother, what's the matter? Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended. Mother, you have my father much offended. Why, how now, Hamlet? What's the matter now? Have you forgot me? No, by the rood, not so. You were the queen. Your husband's brother's wife. And would it were not so, you were my mother. Nay then, I'll set those to you that can speak. Come and sit you down. You shall not budge. You go not till I set my glass, wherein you may see the inmost part of you. What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me. Help, help, ho! Calling for help behind the arras, Polonius. Help, help! How now, a rat? Hamlet draws his rapier. Dead for a ducat, dead! Ay, me, what hast thou done? Nay, I know not. Is it the king? Oh, what a rash and bloody deed is this? A bloody deed! Almost as bad, good mother, as kill a king and marry with his brother. As kill a king? Aye, lady, 'twas my word. Hamlet pulls back the arras, revealing Polonius' body. Ah, the wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. Thou finds to be too busy in some danger. Turning back to his mother, leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down, and let me wring your heart. Hamlet then proceeds to excoriate his mother for her over-hasty marriage and her lustful relationship with the king. Oh, Hamlet, speak no more. Thou turns mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and braided spots as will not leave their tinct. Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty. No more, sweet Hamlet, a murderer and a villain, a slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your preceding lord. No more, a king of shreds and patches. Suddenly, the ghost of Hamlet's father appears in the room. Save me, and hover on me with your wings, your heavenly gods. What would your gracious figure? Gertrude reacting to this. Alas, he's mad. Do not forget, this visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Speak to her, Hamlet. How is it with you, lady? Alas, how is't with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy, and with the incorporeal air do hold discourse? Whereon do you look? On him, on him. Look you how pale he glares. Do you see nothing there? No, nothing at all, yet all there is I see. Or did you nothing hear? No, nothing but our souls. Well, look you now. How he goes out of the portal, my father! It is Hamlet as he lived! Oh, this is the very coinage of your brain. This bodiless creation, ecstasy, is very cutting in. Ecstasy! Oh, for the love of grace, mother, lay not that trespass, let that your trespass, but my madness speaks. Oh, Hamlet, thou hast cleft my heart in twain. Throw away the worse part of it, and live the purer with the other half. Good night. But go not to my uncle's bed. Assume a virtue, if you have it not. Refrain tonight, and that will lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence. The next, more easy. Once more, good night. And when you are desirous to be blessed, I blessing beg of you. For this same Lord I do repent, but heaven hath pleased us so to punish me with this and this with me, and will answer well the death I gave him. Once more, good night. I must be cruel only to be kind. Thus bad begins and worse remains behind. I must to England, you know that? I had forgot. 'Tis so concluded on. And this man shall set me packing. I lug the guts into the neighbor room. Mother, good night. Indeed, this counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave, who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Come, sir, to draw toward it in with you. Good night, mother. Act 4, Scene 1 and 2, another room in the castle. Gertrude informs Claudius that in a lawless fit, Hamlet has slain Polonius and is as mad as the sea and wind. When Hamlet is sent into England, Claudius has secretly arranged for Hamlet's death, with Rosencrantz and Guildenstern as co-conspirators. All this is unknown to the Queen. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are then sent to find Hamlet and bring him before the king. Act 4, Scene 3, another room in the castle. Claudius speaks. Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius? At supper. At supper? Where? Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are e'en at him. What dost thou mean by this? Nothing, but to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar. Where's Polonius? In heaven, sent thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, go seek him in the other place yourself. Indeed, if you find him not within the month, you shall nose him as you go up the stairs. Go seek him there. He will stay till you come. Hamlet, this deed for thine especial safety, which we do tender as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore prepare thyself. The bark is ready and the wind at help. The associates tend, and everything is bent for England. For England? Aye, Hamlet. Good, so is it, if thou knewest our purposes. I see a cherub that sees them. But come, for England, to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Follow him at foot. Tempt him with speed aboard. Delay it not. I'll have him hence tonight. And England, if my love thou holdst at aught, thou mayest not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports at full by letters conjuring to that effect the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for let the hectic bloody rages. Thou must cure me. My note is done. Where are my haps? My joy is in every gun. Scene 4. Enter Fortinbras and forces march. Then Hamlet, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and a captain passing by. Hamlet speaks. Good sir, whose powers are these? They are of Norway, sir. Well, how purpose, sir, I pray you? Against some part of Poland. Who commands him, sir? Oh, the nephew to old Norway, Fortinbras. Goes it against the main of Poland, sir, or some frontier? Truly to speak, and with no addition, we go to gain a little patch of ground that hath in it no profit but the name. To pay 5 ducats 5, I would not farm. Thank you, sir. God be with you, sir. Rosencrantz comes forward. Please you go, my lord. I'll be with you straight. Go a little before. All occasions to inform against me and spur my dull revenge. What is a man, if the chief good and market of his time be but to sleep and feed? A beast, no more. Sure, he that made us with such large discourse, looking before and after, gave us not that capability and godlike reason to trust in us and use. Nor whether it be bestial oblivion, or some craven scruple of thinking too precisely on the event, a thought which quartered hath but 1 part wisdom, and of the 3 parts coward. I do not know why yet I live to say these things to do, sith I have cause and will and strength and means to do it. Examples gross as earth exhort me. Witness this army of such mass in charge, led by a delicate and tender prince whose spirit with divine ambition puffed makes mouths at the invisible event, exposing what is mortal to all that fortune, death, and danger dare, even for an eggshell. Rightly to be great is not to stir without great argument, but great to find quarrel in a straw when honor's at the stake. How stand I then, that hath a father killed, a mother stained, excitements of my reason and my blood, and yet let all sleep, whilst to my shame I see the imminent death of 20,000 men, that for a fantasy or trick of fame go to their graves like beds, fight for a plot wherein the numbers cannot try the cause, which is not tomb enough or continent to hide the slain. From this time forth, my thoughts be bloody, be nothing worth. Ophelia, trying to cope with Hamlet's seeming rejection of her and the recent death of her father at Hamlet's hand, has lost her reason. Her brother Laertes, recently returned from France, is demanding to know who killed his father. As he is speaking to Claudius, Ophelia suddenly appears. Laertes is devastated. In the middle of all this, the king has a letter delivered to him. It is from Hamlet, and he reads it aloud. High and mighty, you shall know that I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall first, asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasions of my sudden and most strange return. Hamlet. Realizing his murder plot has failed, Claudius decides to tell Laertes that Hamlet has killed his father. Claudius then contrives a plot where Laertes will be revenged for Claudius, and Claudius will be rid of Hamlet. A fencing match will be arranged. Laertes will use an unbaited foil with a poisoned tip, and to be doubly sure, a poisoned cup of wine will be offered to Hamlet during the match. Laertes agrees. Sadly, the queen soon arrives with heartbreaking news. Ophelia is dead, the victim of her own hand. Act 5, Scene 1, the churchyard. Hamlet and Horatio are passing by when they hear, "Oh, for a pickaxe and a spade for a shroud and sheet. Oh, for a pit of clay to be made, for such a guest is meet." Has this fellow no feeling of his business that he sings at grave making? Custom hath made it in him a property of easiness. Is e'en so. I will speak to this fellow. Whose grave this, sirrah? Mine, sir. I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it. Well, you lie out in it, sir, therefore it is not yours. As for my part, I do not lie in it, yet it is mine. For thou dost lie in to be in and say it is thine. 'Tis for the dead, not the quick. Therefore thou liest. 'Tis a quick lie, sir, 'twill away again from me. What man dost thou dig this for? Oh, no man, sir. Well, what woman then? No woman either. Who is to be buried in it? Well, there was a woman, sir, but rest her soul, she's dead. How long, we must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. How long hast thou been a grave maker? Well, of all the days of the year, I came to it that very day that our last king Hamlet overcame Fortinbras. How long is that since? Can you tell that? Any fool can tell that. Why, it was that very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent into England. Why, Mary, why was he sent into England? Why, because he was mad. He shall recover his wits there. Or if he do not, there's no great matter there. Why? 'Twill not be seen in him there. There the men are as bad as he. How came he mad? Faith, even with losing his wits. I've been sexton, man and boy here for 30 years. How long will a man lie in the earth ere he rot? Well, faith, if you've been not rotten before he died, it'll last you some 8 or 9 years. A tanner now lasts you 9 years. But why he more than another? Why, sir, his hide is so tanned with his trade that it'll keep out water a great while, and water is the sore decayer of your horse and dead body. There's a skull now. Now this skull is laid in the earth 23 years. Whose was it? A horse and mad fellas it was. Who do you think it was? I know not. A pestilence order for a mad rogue. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on me head once. This same skull, sir, was Yorick's skull, the king's jester. This, being that, let me see. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, a most excellent fancy. He has borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now how abhorred in my imagination it is, my gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how often. Where be your jibes now, your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar? Not one now to mock your own grinning. Quite chapful. Now get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her let her paint an inch thick. To this favor, she must come. Make a laugh at that. Soft. Soft. The king, the queen, the courtiers. Who is that they follow in such maimed rites? Enter priests in procession, the corpse of Ophelia, Laertes and mourners, followed by the king and queen. Couch me a while and mark. Laertes is speaking to the priest. What ceremony else? Her obsequies had been as far enlarged as we have warranties. Her death was doubtful. Must there no more be done? No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead to sing a requiem and such rest to her as to peace-parted souls. Lay her in the earth a while, and from her fair and unpolluted flesh make violet spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a ministering angel shall my sister be when thou liest howling. What? Fair Ophelia? Laertes stops the grave diggers. Hold off the earth a while, till I've caught her once more in my arms. With this he leaps into the grave. Now, pile your dust upon the quick and the dead, till of this flat a mountain you have made. Hamlet emerges from hiding. What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis? This is I, Hamlet the Dane. With this he leaps into the grave. The devil take thy soul, as Laertes grabs him. Thou prayest not well, take thy fingers from my throat. Hamlet and Laertes continue to grapple in the grave, and are finally separated. I loved Ophelia! 40,000 brothers with all that quantity of love could not make up my sum. Hear you, sir. What is the reason that you use me thus? I loved you ever, but it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may. The cat will mew, and the dog will have his day. Act 5, Scene 2, a hall in the castle. Hamlet reveals to Horatio how he was able to foil the plot to have him murdered on his way to England. By secretly changing the royal commission, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern die in his place. They are soon interrupted by a courtier who presents Hamlet with an invitation by the king. Claudius has arranged a fencing match with Laertes as a gesture of friendship to atone for his behavior at Ophelia's funeral. Hamlet accepts this in good faith. Horatio, perhaps suspecting something, says to Hamlet, "You will lose this wager, my lord." "I do not think so. Since Laertes went into France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds." But thou wouldst not think how ill falls here about my heart. But it is no matter. Nay, my good lord, it is but foolery, but it is a kind of gainsgiving as perhaps would trouble a woman. My lord, if your mind is like anything, obey it. I will forestall the repair hither and say you are not fit, not a whit. We defy augury. There is a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be now, it is not to come. If it be not now, yet it will come. If it be not to come, it will be now. The readiness is all. And since no man has aught of what he leaves, what is to leave betimes? Let be. Enter the king, Queen, Laertes, lords, Osric in attendance with foils, etc. The king speaks, "Come, Hamlet, come, and take this hand from me." The king puts Laertes' hand into Hamlet's. "Give me your pardon, sir. I've done you wrong, but pardon it as you are a gentleman." Laertes replies, "I do receive your offered love like love, and will not wrong it. I embrace it freely. What I have done, I here proclaim as madness. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts." Laertes replies, "I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge." The king interrupts. "Give them the foils, young Osric." "Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager?" "Oh, very well, my lord. Your grace has laid the odds on the weaker side." "I do not fear it, I've seen you both. But since he's betted, we have therefore odds." Laertes, selecting his weapon, "This is too heavy. Let me see another." And he selects the one with the unbaited and envenomed tip. Hamlet choosing his, "Well, this likes me well. These foils have all the length?" "Aye, my good lord." The king rises. "Set me the stoups of wine upon the table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, or quit in answer to the third exchange, the king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath. Come, begin, and you the judges, bear a wary eye. Come, sir, come, my lord." They play. "One, no, judgment, a hit, a very palpable hit. Well, again, stay, give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine." Give him the cup. "No, I'll play this bout first, set it by a while. Come." They continue to play. "Another hit, what say you? A touch, a touch. I do confess. Our son shall win. Here, Hamlet, take my napkin," as the queen rises. "Rub thy brows. The queen carouses to thy fortune, Hamlet. Gertrude, do not drink." "I will, my lord. I pray you pardon me." The queen drinks from the poisoned cup. She then offers the cup to Hamlet. "No, I dare not drink yet, madam. By and by. Come, sir, for the third, Laertes. You do but dally. I pray you pass with your best violence. I'm afeard you make wanton of me." "Say you so. Come on." The match continues for a while without a hit being scored. Nothing, neither way. They stop. Hamlet turns away to wipe his brow. Laertes suddenly strikes him in the shoulder. Hamlet, surprised and angered, slaps the foil from Laertes' hand. He picks it up. He notices the unbaited tip and flips his own foil to Laertes. "Nay, come again. Hamlet ferociously attacks Laertes, finally wounding him. Part them, they are incensed. Look to the queen there, ho! As Gertrude falls. They bleed on both sides. How is Laertes? I am justly killed with mine own treachery. How does the queen? She swoons to see them bleed. No, no, the drink. The drink. Oh, my dear Hamlet. The drink. I am poisoned. Oh, villainy. Let the door be locked. Treachery. Seek it out. Laertes falls. It is here, Hamlet. Hamlet, thou art slain. In thee there is not half an hour of life. The treacherous instrument is in my hand, unbated and envenomed. Thy mother's poisoned. The king's to blame. The point envenomed too. Then venom to thy work! And he stabs Claudius. Laertes tries to rise, exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me. Heaven make thee free of it. I follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, and you that look pale and tremble at this act, had I but time, as this well Sergeant Death is strict in his arrest, oh, I could tell you, but let me. Oh, good Horatio, if thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story. I die, Horatio. The potent poison quite operates my spirit. The rest is silence. Now, cracks in the wall. Good night, sweet prince. And lights of angels sing thee to